Discussion and debate. Building an argument. Unit 12. Task A. Read and discuss. Listen to the reading and follow along in your textbook. The reading introduces the topic and some of the key ideas you will need to develop your argument. As you listen, think about your own views on the topic.
People have a universal need for fulfillment and success, but this is not easily achieved. It requires a great deal of hard work, commitment, and often risk-taking. Studies show that successful businessmen and billionaires have built their personal brands on the foundation of risk. Success in life hinges on our willingness to take chances. As American entrepreneur Jim Rohn once said, "If you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary." Leading a life within our comfort zone may mean a safe and secure existence, but in the long run, it may bring less reward. As the old saying goes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And taking risks opens up possibilities, develops self-confidence and resilience, and offers possible rewards. But despite this, risk takers are still in the minority because most people are inherently risk-averse. One reason why some steadfastly refuse to take risks is that they tend to imagine only worst-case scenarios. On the contrary, a study shows that willingness to take risks is linked to personal satisfaction, and people who enjoy taking risks are more content with their lives. Risk-taking eliminates the possibility of regrets and the what-ifs. But not all risks are good risks. We need to examine all our options. It is not about jumping at any and all opportunities, but choosing only the right ones. Calculated risk-taking must be observed in order to maximize the chances of success. Otherwise, we may be risking our neck.
Task B. Comprehension check. Consider each question and use information from the reading to develop your response. Think about how these ideas could be used to support either side of the argument. Task C. Vocabulary building. Complete the vocabulary activity. Pay attention to how each word or phrase is used, as you will be encouraged to use this vocabulary when you present your argument. Now check your answers. Task D. Useful idioms. Complete the idiom activity and check the meaning of each expression. Consider whether any of these expressions could be used naturally in your argument. Now check your answers. Then take the vocabulary and idioms quiz. Task E. Discussion language. Study the discussion language and complete the activity. Practice using these expressions to help you structure and communicate your argument clearly. Task F. For and against. Listen to both model arguments and follow along in your textbook. Notice how each speaker states a position, develops reasons, introduces evidence, and uses the language from the unit. Consider which arguments you find most convincing.
Success rarely happens by accident, and I believe it usually comes from taking risks. One reason is that every new venture involves uncertainty, whether someone is starting a business, changing careers, or investing money. While failure is always possible, avoiding risk often means missing potentially life-changing opportunities. Many successful entrepreneurs achieve results because of their willingness to embrace challenges that others avoid. Another reason is that calculated risks often produce greater rewards. Statistical averages show that around 90% of startup businesses fail, yet the businesses that succeed frequently become industry leaders and create entirely new markets. This shows that failure is common, but the potential rewards can far outweigh the risks for those who prepare carefully and adapt to changing circumstances. Finally, taking risks helps people develop valuable skills. Even unsuccessful experiences build confidence, knowledge, and resilience, making future decisions more informed and encouraging a more adventurous approach to future opportunities. Summing up, we can safely say that success rarely comes without uncertainty. Although every opportunity has inherent risks, people who learn from failure and continue moving forward are far more likely to achieve their goals. For these reasons, I believe taking calculated risks is an essential part of long-term success.
Taking risks can sometimes lead to success, but I do not believe success depends on risk alone. One reason is that many successful people achieve their goals through careful planning, patience, and consistent effort rather than bold decisions. A conservative approach allows people to build experience while avoiding costly mistakes along the way. Another reason is that experience and preparation can be more important than risk. A large U.S. study found that the average age of founders of the fastest-growing businesses was 45. The researchers also found that experience in the same industry was strongly linked to success. These findings suggest that knowledge and experience can matter more than taking greater risks. Successful people do not simply gamble. Instead, they take the calculated risk after weighing the costs and benefits. Finally, long-term success depends on making good decisions rather than simply accepting greater risks. Even people who are not averse to challenges may show reluctance when the potential costs greatly outweigh the possible rewards. Financial security, experience, and a strong support network provide an important incentive to choose sustainable paths toward success, while reducing the likelihood of costly mistakes and unnecessary setbacks over the long term. The obvious conclusion is that success is more often achieved through careful judgment than through taking risks alone.
Task G. Comprehension check. Answer the questions about the model arguments. Identify the speaker's positions and evidence, and practice challenging one of their points. This will help prepare you for the rebuttal task later. Task H. Springboard. Read the quotation and consider how it relates to the topic. Introduce the quote and explain what it demonstrates. Consider whether the quotation could be used to support your own argument. Task I. Exploring evidence. Complete the evidence activity. Each unit introduces a different type of supporting evidence. Consider how this type of evidence can make an argument more convincing and how you could use it in your own argument. Now check your answer. Then take the evidence type quiz. Task J, supporting an argument. Develop a reason for your position and support it using the type of evidence introduced in this unit. This will give you practice connecting a reason with relevant supporting evidence. Task K, gathering data. Study the infographic and identify information that could support either side of the argument. Consider which facts or data would be most useful for supporting your own position. Task L, building an argument. Now bring together what you have learned throughout the unit. Choose whether you are for or against the discussion statement. Use the Building an Argument page to state your position and develop 3 clear reasons supported with relevant evidence. Use the evidence type introduced in this unit once in your argument, and identify your sources by giving the author or source title and the date. Where appropriate, try to incorporate the discussion language, vocabulary, and idioms you learned in the unit. When you have completed your notes, use them to record your spoken argument and post your recording to the Spoken Argument Forum. Do not simply read your notes, use them to help you explain your argument naturally. Finally, listen to another student's argument. Choose one point they made and record a rebuttal explaining why you disagree. You've now completed all 12 units of discussion and debate. Thank you for all your hard work throughout the course.